Hey everyone, and welcome. We're about to tackle one of the biggest and, honestly, most confusing decisions a beekeeper has to make. What exactly do you put inside your hive frames? It's a huge choice, so let's jump right into the big debate over beehive foundation.
It might sound a little strange, but I guarantee you, for so many of us in the beekeeping world, the answer is foundation. I mean, this one little component, it sets the entire stage for how your colony builds its home, where it stores its food, and how it raises its young. The choice you make right here is going to have ripple effects all season long.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to frame the decision itself. Then, you'll meet the four major players in the plastic foundation game. We'll put them head-to-head in a face-off, break down the three key things you really need to think about, and then finally, help you figure out the perfect fit for your own bees.
Okay, so while you'll still find some traditionalists who swear by wax and wire, most of us modern beekeepers have made the switch to waxed plastic foundation. And why is that? Well, it boils down to one word: durability. It just holds up so much better to extraction, to pests, you name it. But that just opens up a whole new can of worms, doesn't it? The debate isn't really about if you should use plastic anymore, it's about which plastic you should use. And that's where things get interesting.
All right, let's meet the big four that you'll hear about all the time, especially if you're beekeeping here in Canada. Each one has its own personality, its own loyal fan base, and its own special quirks. First step, we've got Canacell. You can think of this one as the hometown hero for Canadian beekeepers because it's made right here in Ontario. It's really built a solid reputation for its quality and for how quickly the bees seem to take to it and build beautiful, even comb.
Next in the ring is Rite Cell, which comes from Man Lake. This is your heavy-duty option. It's known for being noticeably thicker and stiffer than a lot of the competition, and it has these really deep cell impressions that a lot of folks believe are fantastic for honey production.
And then we have Pierco. So if Rite Cell is the heavy-duty tank, Pierco is the sprinter. It has an incredible reputation for getting bees to start drawing out comb almost instantly. And that's especially true if you spring for the double-waxed version.
And finally, there's Puracell. This one is really all about being tough and easy to work with. It's a molded plastic design, so it's built to last for years, and it just makes the whole process of getting foundation into your frames super simple.
Okay, introductions are done. Now it's time for the main event. We're going to put these four head-to-head and really see how they stack up against each other. Let's look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, based on what beekeepers out in the field are actually saying.
So let's break this down. As you can see, Canacell really shines with that local Canadian production and its reliable quality. Root cell stiffness is a huge pro when you're handling frames, but some beekeepers report their bees can be a little slow to get started on it. Pierco gives you that amazing rapid start, which is a massive plus, though it is a bit thinner than the others. And Puracell's claim to fame is that rock-solid durability and easy installation. It's pretty clear, right? There's a trade-off with every single choice you make. You know, choosing a foundation isn't just about picking a brand name that you like the sound of. The brand is really just a label for a few underlying factors that actually make the difference to your bees. So let's dig into what those really are.
Honestly, this entire, sometimes overwhelming debate, it really just boils down to these three things. First, how much wax is on the foundation. Second, the physical nature of the plastic itself. Is it actually thick or is it just rigid? And third, something that matters a lot to many of us. Where is this stuff actually made?
Let's start with the wax factor, because you could argue this is the most important one. Bees build with wax, right? So it just makes sense they'd be way more attracted to a foundation that already has a nice, thick coating of the real thing. I mean, an unwaxed plastic frame can sit in a hive untouched for weeks, but a double-waxed frame? The bees can draw that out completely in just a few days during a good nectar flow. It's a perfect example of how a little more investment up front can pay off big time.
Next up, let's talk about thickness versus rigidity. Now, these two things sound like they could be the same, but they're not. Rite Cell is genuinely thicker plastic, which makes it super stiff. Pierco, on the other hand, is a thinner sheet, but it's engineered in a way that makes it really rigid. This might seem like a tiny detail, but it makes a difference in how the frames feel in your hands and how the bees work it. A thicker foundation might feel sturdier during inspections, but a rigid, thinner one might be easier for the bees to draw out those deep cells on. It really is a matter of feel and performance.
And finally, that local versus global question. For a lot of Canadian beekeepers, this is a huge deal. Choosing Canacell isn't just about getting a good product, it's about supporting a domestic, Ontario-based business. If keeping your supply chain local and supporting your neighbors is a priority for you, well, this makes the decision pretty straightforward.
So after all of that, which one is the best? Well, The real answer is, there isn't one single best foundation for everyone. No way. The best choice is the one that perfectly lines up with your specific goals as a beekeeper. So let's look at a simple way to figure that out.
Here's a super simple 3-step method to nail this down. First, ask yourself, what is my number one priority? Is it speed? Is it long-term durability? Second, be honest about how rough you are with your equipment. Do you need something that can really take a beating? And third, how important is it to you to support a local Canadian company? Just answer those 3 questions and you'll pretty much have your answer.
Okay, let's get really specific here. If your main goal is to build up a colony as fast as possible to catch a honey flow, the consensus is pretty clear. Go with double-axed Pierco or Canacell for that super fast acceptance. If you want frames that you can toss around your truck without worrying, Puracell is your undisputed durability champion. And if you're looking for a solid, balanced option that gives you a great mix of rigidity and quality, you really can't go wrong with either Rite Cell or Canacell.
At the end of the day, the foundation you pick is quite literally the foundation of your colony's home. It's the canvas they're going to use to build their future, to raise their next generation, and to store all that beautiful honey you're hoping to harvest. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build it on?